Hi guys, welcome. Let me know please on the right side if you can hear me, okay? There's a chat box on the right side, so you can type it in, and you can also use it to ask any questions you might have throughout the webinar. During the presentation, I'm not going to be answering questions, but towards the end, I'll answer as many questions as I can. So, hi Nadari. Guys, just let me know where you're from. On the right side, let me know where you're watching it from. Perfect. Well, hi, I see Shauna, Marcel, Tanya, Jude, Safi, Kate. Well, it's amazing, guys, to see so many of you here, and we have so much information to cover, so much material. So I'm gonna try to get started and cover as much as we can. And then towards the end, if you have questions, I'll be taking questions as well. So I'm gonna turn off my camera and put the PowerPoint presentation. And also, I would ask you to make sure that you have something to write with and a piece of paper, because there might be some insights. There will also be, I'm also going to be asking some questions that I think it's really important for you to answer just for yourself as a matter of getting really clear. Because when it comes to weight loss, as anything else, it's really important to be clear on what are the stumbling blocks, because then you know in which direction to move. So I'm going to put on PowerPoint. Okay. So, well, welcome everyone one more time. So if you're just joining, it's good to see you. I see that we have people from Russia and New York and Toronto and Madison and even New Zealand and Honolulu. That's super fun, and I'm excited to have all of you. In today's webinar, I'm going to share my step-by-step process of recognizing and releasing blocks that are keeping your body heavy, sick, and tired. And that's probably the reason why all of us are here. I use these steps myself and with my clients, helping them break through the binge and restrict cycles, persistent bloating, and self-sabotage. My goal is to give you the tools so you can finally eliminate persistent bloating and release unneeded weight before the bikini season, but also keep it off for the rest of your life. So it's not something that you do for a couple of weeks and then stop doing and go back to the old habits. It's something that I really hope will change your entire life if you really make a commitment to that. Try to pay very close attention, because I will share the tools that I usually share only with my one-on-one clients. As I mentioned before, if you guys just joining, make sure to have something that you can take notes with and a piece of paper. Working with me one-on-one is transformational, but it's pricey. And I had more and more women reaching out to me saying that they want to work with me, but they can't afford it. So I decided that I wanted to share some of the things that worked well for me and for my clients, for you for free, just because that I know how much suffering, extra weight, and bloating can cause to a woman. So these are the strategies that I hear very, very few people talking about. Because usually when you hear weight loss advice, it's always about eat less, exercise more, limit your calories, and you're supposed to achieve your goals. But what I've seen in my practice, what I've seen with my body, the situation is not as simple, and there's always the underlying emotional side to all of it. So what I found over the years is that I was really bad at relying on my willpower, and a lot of my clients were as well. I pretty much stuck at following the rules or directions given by somebody else. But by using the strategies that I will discuss with you today, I have found a way to live in integrity with my body and make the best choices without force and control. And I really believe deeply in each one of you. I believe that you can do that too. There are no superhuman abilities required. You simply need to understand your body and psychology better. And that's what we're going to try to do by going through some exercises and covering some theory. Another huge benefit of the approach that I'm offering today is that it will allow you to stay flexible and to actually enjoy your life while helping your body feel and look its best. So it's not like a rigid, you have to do this, you have to do that. I know most of you probably have tried quite a lot of diets, and you can probably know more theory about nutrition than 99 of your friends. So I just have a quick question for all of you. I'm going to put on the right side a question. Has traditional weight loss advice, eat less, exercise more, did it work for you or not? So choose yes or no, and let's see what we see in terms of our audience. Has it worked? Has it not worked? I would be really interested to hear. So I don't believe in shortcuts when it comes to weight loss and optimal health. That being said, is the process that we're going to discuss today is going to be one of the most effective approaches with amazing results, and it won't rely on willpower. So I'm going to share some theory, but I'll also share some stories with my clients. For example, one of my clients, a mom in her 40s, she lost over 11 pounds in just a couple of weeks of working together using the most controversial steps that I'm sure all of you women are going to love. And I will tell her story in detail as well. Before we begin and dive into the theory, I want to guys see if you got the questions. Okay. So guys, not sure, I think I'm pretty new to using the software. So if you did see the poll, make sure to click on it. If not, we'll stay in the chat room. So before we dive into the theory, what I wanted to say is that the underlying key to all of this is that you have to be willing to get honest with yourself and change ideas and beliefs that are not serving you anymore. It is deep internal work, and it can get pretty emotional, but it's totally worth it. You have to be willing to let go and be present for yourself on a completely new level. If you really want to feel lighter in your body and let go of physical and emotional baggage, there is nothing that can stand between you and your ideal version of yourself. If deep inside you feel that you're not ready to change and let go of habits that keep you stuck, or stop self-abusing behaviors, and you probably know which ones I mean, then there might be a lack of commitment to self, and that will negatively impact your progress. So really evaluate where do you stand with that. I hope that all of you here are ready to change your life and to help your body lighten up. If you aren't ready to change, I highly suggest that you pause and really reflect on what being healthy means for you and why you want to lose weight to begin with. You only get one body in this lifetime, and it is up to you to take care of it, because unfortunately nobody else can do it for you. So just a quick overview, because we still have people joining us. We're going to review the behind-the-scenes process that I offer my one-on-one clients and that I use for my own body. We'll discuss some strategies to achieve weight loss and to lighten up without starvation and willpower, but instead by reconnecting to your body and really getting clear on the emotional blocks. Okay, So here's a slide in terms of what I'm hoping that you will take away from this presentation. And we'll definitely get to the food aspect as well, but we'll start with emotional stuff first. And before we get, again, to the finding the emotional blocks that are holding you back, I want to share a little bit of my personal story. And as many of you know, there's nothing that feels better than feeling light, having regular digestion, and a peaceful, balanced relationship with food. What you probably also know is that most women, and probably most men as well, can feel that way for a long period of time. We restrict and squeeze our way into a state of being that feels light for just a few days. But then what happens is we relapse and fall back to old patterns of overeating or choosing food that makes us feel full and inflamed. We self-sabotage ourselves into feeling depressed, like a failure, and fat. And we keep ourselves down because feeling light feels too good, and we don't know how to handle feeling good for too long, because our normal set point is to feel bad, tired, heavy, stressed, and overworked. And I've seen it with so many women, and if you feel that you can relate to that pattern of you feel so good and then you're kind of tempted to do something that you know will make you feel bad. So if you can relate to that, let me know in the chat box as well. And we also have the same set point with our weight. And to break that set point, you need to work both with your subconscious and logical mind. So for many years, I was struggling with exactly the same issue. And my weight affected how I felt about everything, even my love life. So I want to take you back about 9 years ago when I was just starting to get into all of these healthy things. And the reason why I was doing it is because I personally wanted to lose weight. So about 9 years ago, I was just starting to date my boyfriend, and he was living in Toronto. I just moved to New York to attend New York University, and he had a birthday, and he came to New York to celebrate his birthday. So I decided to surprise him by showing up to his hotel in lingerie. I felt super excited about the idea until I looked in the mirror. And a burning, hot feeling of shame and disgust towards myself was sweeping all over my body. The only thing I could think about was, how can he possibly love or want me when I'm so fat and bloated and soft? And what if he touches my waist and his hand will sink into my fat? I worried that he'd feel and see that my stomach wasn't flat. So that night, like most other times, I shoved my emotions under the carpet and proceeded to do what I thought I should be doing. I did what I was supposed to do, but I didn't feel confident. I wasn't able to enjoy what I was doing. And I found myself going through the motions of life while keeping my attention closely centered on my chubby midsection and internal disgust. And I've seen it in my clients a lot as well. So during the next several months, it grew to the point that I covered up all mirrors in the apartment so I wouldn't see myself. And I called my little sister over Skype, crying to her about being fat and not confident in my body. At that time, what I didn't realize is that my relationship with my body was filled with hate that led to low body confidence, distrust that led to constant restriction, and abuse at the gym. And that complete disconnection led to constant overthinking about diets. So, and again, I would really like to hear from you in the chat if you can relate with not trusting your body and because of that, really restricting it. And that what happened for me was that that constant internal battle lasted throughout my entire graduate and undergraduate school. And I had this block on even allowing for the possibility of listening to my body or just giving it voice that led to problems beyond weight and low confidence. My weak digestion became horrible. I felt constantly bloated and constipated. I couldn't go to the bathroom for 2 or 3 days, and I had to drink disgusting fiber drinks and travel with a bag of laxative pills. Then polycystic ovarian syndrome made an appearance along with all its fun, mood swings, and hormonal issues. And um, I thought it's not gonna get any worse. But what happened is pieces of my scalp literally started coming off because I had severe psoriasis on the back of my head. So by the time I was 23, I was kind of ending up on hormone pills and cortisone cream, even though I came really, really healthy family of where both of my parents were doctors practicing both traditional and Eastern medicine. So at that point, I chose to go alternative route and try yoga and meditation and healthy food and juices and herbs. But the thing is that it didn't really make me understand or feel my body any better, because what was happening, I still kept relying on what I should be doing and finding experts' advice when it came to supplements and food and exercise. So I always searched for that answer outside, even though I could never stick with it. I still restricted myself, and every time I would try to put myself on a new healthy diet, which would be either sugar-free, or I tried a raw diet, a vegan diet, I would still end up going off of it and doing something really bad. That, like, I would eat on nuts and fruits, or overeat on almonds. So that didn't really make me feel my best either. And again, I see that a lot in my clients. They'll go and start drinking juices nonstop, but then also overeat on raw food desserts, or try to be sugar-free and then go and binge on cookies. So that restriction and willpower, what I've seen in women, hasn't really worked so well, neither for me, not for my clients, out of what I've seen. And again, I would really love to hear from you in terms of how do you relate to the restriction? Do you feel that you're able to use your willpower and stick with it? But thankfully, I found some books, and I started doing lots of internal work, and I spent several weeks in India with my teacher, and slowly things started clearing up. And fast forward 7 years, believe it or not, it took me just a few years. I finally found a set of tools that helped me to stay balanced, strong, light, motivated, full of energy, even with my crazy travel and teaching schedule. My polycystic ovarian syndrome, I see that some of you also have PCOS as a diagnosis, went from having cysts on the x-ray to having completely regular pain-free periods with no mood swings, no bloating. So I do believe that if you do have this diagnosis, your body can heal. It's a matter of really finding what it needs. And I use the same tools with my one-on-one clients with great success. So that one of my clients, Kim, says that I'll just read you one of her testimonials. So this is Kim's story. So Kim says that I met Nadya 8 months ago, and my life hasn't been the same since. She has helped me in the most profound way, and I cannot thank her enough. After years and years of struggling, Nadya has helped me make peace with my body, my mind, and the connection between the two. For this, I will always be grateful. This peace has then rippled into so many areas of my life. Not only I'm so much healthier, but as a secondary benefit, the weight I needed to lose fell off without even trying. And Kim is just one of those amazing stories. And my story personally has been pretty much the same, because I can't say that I use any restriction or willpower to stay at the weight that I am now. And So out of all the theories and out of all the tools that I've discovered, what I found was the most important is that it's not only about understanding what to eat or what to do for exercise, but it's also digging into why and how. So with your permission, I would like to share some of those strategies with you. And it's just some transformational basic guidelines that we'll cover in the rest of the presentation. And then for some of you who think that they're ready, I'll offer a new 6-week online course at the end of the session. In the course, I will be sharing more of a step-by-step program to resolve the emotional blocks that we will identify today. And I made sure, against my business coach's advice, that the price is going to be much, much lower than working with me one-on-one, because I do want to be surrounded by women who are feeling light and vibrant and clear. So I want to reach as many of you as possible. But before we get to that, let's talk about some critical factors to consider that might keep you stuck with stubborn weight and bloating even after eating a predominantly healthy diet, which I know most of you probably do eat a predominantly healthy diet. So for now, you might need to have your notebooks and pens ready. Okay. So I want to make sure that I have everything open, and we'll go step by step with one thing. So as most of you know, by the way, these are some other clients who had amazing results. It's Kim and Sue Ellen, but I'll cover their stories later. Let's get to some reasons that might keep your weight stuck. So I'll just have a little bit of water. So what I see on the right side is that a lot of you actually, guys, say that you eat well, and it's a matter of finding balance with your hormones, making sure that you find a way to support your body without too much willpower. Yeah, so there's a lot of you who relate to this negative association with restriction and obsession with food. So it feels like we are on the same page in terms of that, which is really cool. So there's some factors. Some of them are right in front of your screen. Some of them I didn't put there because I think they're pretty basic. Like there's more and more research that shows, for example, that genetics are an important factor, as most of us think, but according to research, there's only about 4% of people who are suffering from extra weight are overweight due to genetics. And having both of your parents obese or overweight does, of course, affect your likelihood of being overweight. But again, it's not very clear if it happens because of genetics or because it happens due to the habits in the family. And then, as some of you mentioned, hormonal issues can be pretty big. And the main issue why hormones can lead to weight gain or make it really difficult to lose weight is there is a condition which probably most of you are familiar with, hypothyroidism, and it can slow down the entire metabolic function of the body, including fat burning. It is usually accompanied by sensitivity to cold, dry skin, hair loss, constipation, muscle weakness, fatigue, poor concentration. It can lead in some cases to depression. And during this imbalance with thyroid, the body's temperature becomes a little bit lower, heartbeat becomes slower, breath becomes more shallow. And due to those changes, the person extends less energy and has lower metabolism. So due to that fact, one can start gaining weight. But to determine if hormones are a part of why you're gaining or that's really hard to lose weight, the best thing to do is probably ask your doctor to do the test for thyroid hormones. There's another thing that I didn't put down here, but which can lead to weight gain is some medicines, and it usually lists as a side effect. So antidepressants, steroids, beta blockers, anti-anxiety pills, and antibiotics can lead to extra weight. And antibiotics is probably one of the main culprits to look out for because they kill the bugs that help our digestion. So if your gut bacteria, if your flora is not healthy, then it can impact weight loss. And that's a whole new story, but basically what happens is there's more and more research that shows that the bacteria in our gut is responsible for how we process and how many calories we actually hold on. Some things that we'll use for the energy, and some calories will store as fat. So the bacteria in our gut can determine that. And they have done studies where they would put the bacteria from obese mice into healthy mice, and healthy mice would start gaining weight without ever changing the diet. So there's more and more proof that having a healthier gut flora will help you lose weight. So here, again, good quality probiotics, checking in your gut bacteria with a test can be very insightful. But those are all things that are pretty physiological and that you probably can figure out with your either practitioner or doctor. But some things, and it's not necessarily things that you can control yourself, but a lot of the things that are responsible for like 90% of the results in terms of weight loss are internal. Something that you do, your habits, what you choose on a day-to-day basis, and this is what we're going to focus on because something that we don't have control of or we can't necessarily get like a check tomorrow, then it does make sense to worry about it. I think it makes sense to take action only in something that you actually do have control of. So what we'll do is I'm going to tell you a little bit and then we'll write some of the answers down. So one of the biggest factors of weight gain is obviously lifestyle. And our lifestyle has changed dramatically since even 50, 100 years ago, when our ancestors had so much physical activity, even 100 years ago, and now it says that we have about 5% of what our ancestors had on a day-to-day basis. Another thing that changed is that our ancestors used to eat mostly because when they were hungry. Now we eat a lot more because we want it to be part of being social, because we have a habit and it's time to eat, or it's just something that we do to get rid of internal discomfort. So just a quick, I'm going to give you about a minute. Just write down on a piece of paper what in your lifestyle might be attributing to weight gain or making it hard to lose weight. And it just can be a couple of words, like I'm sitting in front of my computer all day. So again, we're just trying to get very clear. So whatever comes to your mind, just write it down. Okay, so the next one we'll do is your eating habits. So the eating habits are usually formed early on when we're kids. Usually family has pretty similar eating habits. And some of them can be, for example, when I was growing up, our habit that it was so hard for me to let go of is that every Sunday we would have like baked goods with hot cocoa that my mom would make, and that was just a habit. So some other people have a habit of drinking something sweet with their lunch, or maybe eating in front of a TV, or skipping breakfast, or having a large dinner, or eating something sweet before going to bed. So again, or maybe eating with your computer or your phone on. So again, without any judgment to yourself, just write down what other eating habits can be creating that either problem with losing weight or weight gain. Again, try not to judge yourself, just write it down. So for me, when I was doing that exercise, for me it was having late breakfast, having lunch with a computer, eating while cooking because I was too hungry to wait, rushing while eating, being mindless when I eat. So just write down, what is it for you? Okay, so let's move on to unmet needs. So here the food acts as some sort of a covering up all the needs that we have. And food is the easiest way to meet any particular need. So it can be a need for safety, or it can be, for example, a need to show that we belong to a particular group of people. So for example, if we go out to dinner with friends or with family and you kind of eat something that everyone else is eating, just to show that you're part of the group, you don't want to be weird and not choose the food. It's also when we feel that we're in danger or when we're really stressed out, we create some sort of a fake feeling of being safe by eating. So over time, we form this habit of going for food to meet whatever need that we might be experiencing. So for example, when we have a need to feel excitement or to try something new, we go and try new dishes or try new tastes. So again, try now here to see what needs are you trying to meet with food. What are you using the food for? Maybe it's a lack of excitement or a lack of love or search for pleasure or comfort. So for me, when I was writing those answers, and I still keep all those answers because they provide that insight that I can always go back for clarity. So for me, it was the need for rest, the need for pleasure, the need for connection, safety from stress, and safety from having difficult conversations. So again, on a piece of paper, write out for you, what needs are you trying to meet with food? Okay, so let's move on to stress. So I'm sure a lot of you know that when we're stressed out, there has been actually research that shows that about 91% of people will change their eating behaviors when they're stressed out. Some will eat more, some will eat less, but it affects almost everyone. What happens when we're stressed out? Cortisol levels go up, and that affects our hunger levels. And what it does is cortisol actually creates that layer of fat around our waist. And one of the things that a lot of functional doctors will look is the layer of fat around the middle of the body. And that affects the entire health in general, besides having not as thin of a waist as you might want to. What the research has found is that people who are overweight or have some weight to lose, they usually use the food to combat more often than people who do not have weight problems. So, and again, you can look at that from another side, that usually people who will use food to combat stress, they will be more overweight. And another thing that I want to bring your attention to is in our solar plexus, this is our energy center. This is our life center, the core of our body where we make our decisions, and you can live from the core of your body. Energetically, if we have a layer of fat covering that up, it serves as a way to protect ourselves from putting ourselves out there. So the more you're stressed out, the more you're scared, the more your body will try to protect itself. So here, what I would like you to answer for yourself is, at what situations do you feel such high stress, either physically or emotionally, that you tend to go for food? So for me, again, I'll share some of my personal stuff while you write your own, is having too many projects and not knowing where to start, feeling overwhelmed with work, having too much to handle on my plate, and subconsciously being completely swept away and making it hard to withstand pressure. So I would go for food to make myself more grounded. So again, use that awareness and think to yourself, in what particular situations throughout the day or throughout the week I tend to go for food because I am stressed. So I'm going to give you a minute to write down your own answer. Okay, so another one. This one is actually really interesting. So compulsive eating behaviors or impulsive choices. There has been an interesting research that shows that people who have extra weight or who are trying to lose weight, they tend to be more impulsive with their food choices. So they're the people who feel that their life is boring or it's not as exciting as they want it, and they're more likely to choose food to make it more exciting. How I see it in women is, in a lot of cases, food is the only source of pleasure. So throughout the day, for a woman, there's no source of pleasure, and food becomes the only one. So it's basically hard not to choose food, because we all need pleasure and beauty in our life. So think in what situations during the day or throughout the week you're much more likely to be impulsive about your food choices versus thinking of your long-term goal. So again, I'll share some of my examples to give you an idea. So for me, it could happen if I'm in a store and I see something that looks very appetizing. Most of the time, it's going to happen in like a healthy store with raw treats, but I'll see it and it seems like it's not such a bad thing, but I'm much more likely to get way more than I need. And then also after drinking a glass of wine, I'm much more likely to make a choice that is not necessarily the best for my body. So again, write out the situations where you tend to be a little bit more impulsive with food choices. Okay, so let's go to the next one. This one is really, really interesting. So unsatisfactory sleep and rest, which so many of us are guilty about, is just one of the ways that we abuse our body. Not getting enough rest is an abusive thing for the body to do. But what it does, it raises cortisol levels. And it can increase the likelihood of gaining weight over time. The more people are tired, the hungrier they become, because we have this idea that having more food will give us energy, but most of the time it just gives us extra pounds. And there has been some interesting research in Boston University, for example. They got a pretty big group of people, and what they did in the beginning, so they were allowed to sleep for 10 hours each day. And then for the next 6 weeks, their sleep per day was cut down to 4.5 hours. And to the end of the 6th week, people were basically like falling asleep walking. And what the scientists found is that their metabolism slowed down by 12%. And basically what it led to, if somebody sleeps less than 5.5 hours per day, it will probably result to a weight gain of around 15 pounds per year. In a Minnesota university, they found a different number. So how they did it is, for several weeks, people had to sleep 80 minutes less than they would sleep before. So if a person slept for 8 hours, they would sleep for only 6.5 hours. And what that led to is people who slept less ate about 550 calories per day more. So their hunger was much, much higher. So that would, in terms of the pounds, that would probably lead to around 5 pounds per month. So write down if you think that you have been restricting sleep, or maybe you have a baby and you couldn't sleep as much as possible. So if you feel that your body is not rested enough, and if it's asking for more rest, and if that could potentially lead you to not be able to feel the hunger or separate the appetite from hunger in a balanced way, again, write it down without any judgment. Just put a note for yourself. Tanya, I see your question about low cortisol. I'm going to get to that at the end of our presentation. Okay, so the next one is also really interesting. That one covers our emotions. And I think a lot of you here, and again, let me know on the right side, a lot of you probably can associate with emotional eating. It has been a huge issue for me. And what I found myself personally was very fascinating. A lot of people who have emotional eating problems have this state. It's called alexithymia. It's basically an inability to differentiate emotions in the body. And people like that, they can't really identify how, for example, anxiety or fear feels in their body. They just know that they feel unpleasant and they don't like it. So instead of being with that unpleasant feeling, they go for food. And I found that out when I was working with an acting coach and to just work on my public speaking. And the first question that he asked me was like, okay, so what emotion do you feel right now, and where do you feel it? And for me, it was such a foreign concept. So write it down for yourself. Do you tend to eat when you feel particular emotions? How good are you at differentiating various emotions? How do you react to various emotions? And again, if you feel that any particular emotion is more likely to make you overeat or not listen to your body, just write it down for yourself. Okay, so let's go to anxiety. Anxiety is a little bit different than emotional eating, and that's one of the things that it's a big important piece that I would be covering a lot more in a longer program. But here, what I want you to understand and pay attention to is a lot of us are in a constant state of anxiety to the point that we stop feeling it and we stop recognizing it. And food is a natural tranquilizer. It's a natural pacifier. Feels really, really tight, that's a sign of anxiety. So write it down for yourself, like, yes, I do feel anxiety, or no, I don't feel anxiety. And then we'll move on to the next thing almost right away, just because we do we'll have to continue and cover a little bit more today. So the next one is sexual dissatisfaction. And here it's not necessarily just connected to the sex. It's more hormonal. I'm sure all of you have heard about oxytocin. And oxytocin is a hormone that allows you to feel calm. So Stephanie, sorry, there's no sound. Can you guys hear me? Can you write on the right side if you can hear me? Okay. Okay, perfect. So I'll cover the sexual issues one more time. So if you haven't heard me, if the internet went out for a second, so we have oxytocin, an important hormone that is released when you have closeness of some sort. So it's released even when you're hugging or when you're cuddling. And a lot of people who had some sort of a unpleasant sexual interaction, we try to block it out with bringing our body in a state where it wouldn't be attractive. Also, not having a partner or not even having a person that you can hug and cuddle, that can affect your oxytocin levels as well. And if you don't have that pleasure hormone, you will be much more likely to reach for fatty food and for sweet food, like, for example, for chocolate. So again, for yourselves, just write down what is the current state of your sexual life. Are you happy with it? Are you dissatisfied with it? Do you feel that you're getting what you want, that fulfillment, that inspiration that comes from connecting with another person? Or if dissatisfaction in that area can lead to cravings, especially for sweet and fatty foods. So I'm just going to give you a moment. Again, write down for yourself. Okay, and the last thing that I want to cover here is physical activity. But physical activity, not in a way that most of us think about it. I'm not talking about, okay, let's go to the gym and spend an hour at the gym. It's actually more of a, do you get pleasure? Do you feel excited about moving your body? And what are some of your beliefs about the physical exercise? Do you think that it should be boring? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you feel that your particular choice of exercise, is that allowing you to feel your body in a way that you can connect with it? So it's mindful, it's feminine. And here, while you're writing your answer about what is your relationship with physical movement right now, I want to bring to your attention a couple of things about exercise and weight gain and weight loss. It's actually really fascinating. So there is a lab Lawrence at Berkeley. And what they found is that when somebody has irregular like types of workouts, when they, for example, would work out for a period of time and then not work out, it actually made people gain weight. So people who never worked out, they stayed stable. People who would work out for a period of time and then stop, they would gain 4 times more weight. And what that, and another thing that's also interesting to mention is that physical activity on its own is not enough to lose weight, because whatever you move, it's probably going to be like burning 200, 300 calories. But then all it means is that you can eat like a small bowl of soup, and that's all the calories that it covered. So it's not about finding the exercise that will burn the most calories. It's about finding the exercise that will make you appreciate your body and that will make you feel that you're enjoying being in the body. This way you will be much more likely to make a decision to treat it well, even when you're not exercising or when you're not moving. And the first study, when it said that irregular exercise is actually worse than regular or not exercising at all, it just brings to the point that it's really, really crucial to find a way to move that makes you excited and makes you want to look forward to moving. So for somebody, it's going to be yoga. For some people, it's going to be S Factor. For somebody, maybe it's going to be dancing at home. Or for me, for example, I love trampoline and yoga. For somebody, it's going to be walking on the beach or just walking on the street. So find something that you actually really, really enjoy, and that's going to make a huge, huge difference. So I think these are some of the reasons that it might be hard to lose weight. And some other things that I also wanted to cover was disconnection from the body. So not being able to feel your body, having a bad relationship with the body, not trusting it. So here, if you can relate to that, like I don't trust my body around food, I, for example, hate my body, whatever you're feeling, or I distrust my body, again, write it down, just to know. Okay, perfect. So now it should provide some sort of a outline in terms of what's happening and what could be causing the problem with weight gain. So we'll get to a couple of foods that can boost the energy and eliminate cravings, and then we'll talk a little bit about ways to balance hormones. We'll probably go a little bit longer than till 9, but not much longer. And then we'll talk about some foods that help digestion, because digestion is actually another reason that our weight gain can start accumulating over the years, because for a lot of people, digestion slows down when we get older. And in a lot of cases, the only solution that people come up with is, I'm just going to eliminate all the hard to digest food. But that does not make your digestion any stronger. And if you can't digest food well, if your body can't detoxify well, then it's going to end up storing all of it. If you don't trust your body, then what it can lead to is your body will always be in this state of mind where it's trying to hold on to calories because it thinks that you'll put it in the mode of starvation. So again, another thing to put for yourself down is, what is the state of your digestion? Do you digest well? Do you feel afraid that certain foods will make you bloated? Do you go to the bathroom regularly? So if you feel that your digestion is optimal, then it would be much, much easier to lose weight. Okay, so guys, can you let me know? Some people are saying that they can't hear. I want to make sure that most of you can hear, and then we'll keep going with the rest of the presentation. Okay, so once you identify the reasons, some of the habits, some of the emotional blocks, those might be very insightful in providing the main points that need change. Some other questions to ask yourself, I'm not going to give you time to answer, but you can just put down the questions. Some other questions would be, what are some of the fears associated with losing weight? So if you visualize yourself light, what bad things can happen? For example, can somebody have a bad reaction? Can somebody start not liking you? So write down any of those fears that come up, because those can be very strong subconsciously, and subconsciousness is such huge aspect of what happens in our reality, because it says that it's about only 6% of our behaviors are logical. The rest of it is based on our subconscious. It includes fears and beliefs and habits. So it's really important to get to that root cause subconsciously. How do I feel about my body? How do I feel about weight loss? How do I feel about exercise? Am I scared of anything? And if you feel that there's that emotional wall that's associated with emotions, then food is not necessarily the issue. It makes sense to face those emotional stuff first. So I want to tell you a little bit more about one of my clients, because she had a similar issue, and I'll tell you about how, like, what we did, and then I'll walk you a little bit more into the program. So one of my recent clients, she was 29 and a very busy very busy young woman who came to me with hormonal issues. And it seems that you guys also experience a lot of the hormonal issues. So on the right side, a lot of you mentioned having hormonal issues. So she had the same thing, sugar addiction and painful periods. And she actually was in so much pain that in one of the times she ended up in the emergency room. And in addition to addressing her diet, which we just made sure that the diet was really nourishing, that she was eating mindfully, we spent a lot of time getting to the emotional underlying issues and working on her internal state. And in 3 months, she lost 17 pounds without ever feeling restricted, and her periods became pain-free. What she learned during that process is that it's not about eliminating food groups, even though there's honestly no place for chemical-ridden foods in anyone's diet. Instead, she learned to listen to her body, respect its voice, create integrity in the mind-body relationship. And this approach helped her recalibrate, heal, and optimize the weight. So I would invite you to work on the same aspect on improving your relationship with the body, learning to listen to it. So it's not about just eating greens, but it's also about how do you feel when you eat, how do you feel after you eat, and prioritizing feeling good every single moment of your day. So another thing that you can write down for yourself is, what are the things that bring me joy? What are the things that make me happy? So for those of you who want to take it to the next level, in the new program, I'm going to show you how to stop self-sabotaging yourself, how to stop being abusive to your body, and to understand the contradictory nutrition theories so they work for your body. Fortunately, you won't have to pay the price of my one-on-one coaching. It's actually going to be much, much cheaper, but I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the program itself. So in the 6 weeks, you will go from willpower to trust, from restriction to permission, from pain to joy, from heavy to light, from inflamed and puffy to vibrant and glowing. We'll learn about the effects of particular foods on your body and also create a much better relationship with the body. I'm going to give you a little bit of a week-by-week description. So in week 1 of the program, you will learn how to let go of relying on willpower. And we will also cover some of the life values, core desired feelings, and your ideal body. You will learn how to find internal guidance that helps you choose the best food and create the most supportive routine for your body. You'll get tons of bonuses, including meditations and lots of journaling exercises, interviews with the most amazing experts that you can put on your phone or iPod or iPad. And then we'll also cover in week 2 ways to do a nourishing type of detox. The detox that will help you strengthen your digestion, not just eliminate the foods. So all the recipes, all the meal plan was specifically created for people who are busy. I know most of you are busy. And I will also provide some experiments so you can understand what type of diet works better for your body, whether it's high protein, high carb, or high fat. You will get a meal plan, recipes, and also some Happy Belly, so digestion approved snacks, and some meal services that a lot of my clients opted to get just because sometimes it's easier to actually get somebody to cook food for you. And we'll also learn how to go from restriction to freedom in your relationship with food, break sugar addiction, learn healing recipes, and how to get regular, because digestion is such an important piece. And then we'll cover mindfulness and ways to reduce anxiety in week 3. And we'll cover mindful eating, mindful movement. You'll find a powerful method to reduce anxiety associated with compulsive eating that I use myself, that a lot of my clients use. We'll also work on figuring out the best portion size for your digestion, the best way to increase feminine energy and lose weight. And then in week 4, we'll cover the reason why most diets don't work. We'll do some anxiety tests that you can do on a day-to-day basis to see where you are in terms of the anxiety. And then we'll talk over how to overcome all types of addictions and gain freedom. In week 5, we'll cover all those situations where you feel like you're getting in a funk or you feel that you're failing. What to do when your mood point is low, how to increase your happiness set point, how to have difficult conversations with your family when they don't want when they're not particularly open to seeing, for example, you changing your diets. So we'll cover all of that as well. And the link to the program is right on top of the chat, so in the admin notice. And if you click on the link, I'm offering a special early bird discount. So basically what I did, and again, I mentioned it in the beginning of the program, it was kind of against the advice of my coach, who said that the program should be at least $600, and I've seen other coaches offer it for $500. But what I decided, that because I do want to be helping more women, because I do want to be surrounded with women who feel amazing in their body, I'm offering it to you only for $297, which is basically the price of 1 hour session with me. But I'm sending it out to my entire list, which is over 13,000 people, and I can take only 30 people at this price. And then from there on, the price is going to go up to $397. So if you feel that you do want to start creating better relationship with the body, if you are tired of struggling with weight, if you want to alleviate heaviness after meal, if you want to learn to trust yourself around food and stop negative self-talk, if you want to resolve bloating, if you do want to feel light and you want the support, then I would love you to be part of the program. And again, the link is right in the top of the chat box. And one thing that I always say to a lot of my clients is, I do believe that each one of you can lose the weight on your own. You have the support, you have the clarity, you have so much information online. So I think you can lose the weight on your own, but there's something about having a support, being in a group, that makes it so much easier. And it's like building a house. Yes, you can build a shelter on your own, but it's so much easier when you have the whole team building it for you and giving you the outline of how to do it. And this is exactly what the program is for. So if you want to join in on the early bird discount, jump in and you can book your spot. And for now, I'm going to cover some other things. We'll cover 3 foods to boost energy and eliminate cravings, because I do know that a lot of you guys struggle with cravings, and a lot of the times cravings happen because our taste buds are overly stimulated. Another thing could be is that our blood sugar is not stable, and we want to make sure that our blood sugar stays stable and that our taste buds readapt to tasting natural foods. So some of the foods that I would recommend including if you want to cut down cravings, something that's really in season right now is anything bitter. So including dandelions, for example, you can use dandelion tea or saute some dandelions. Those bitter taste, they will help to recalibrate your taste buds, so you will be able to taste food a lot more. And over time, it will lead to the ability to recognize sweet tastes in a lot more sensitive manner. So something that, for example, you used to like, such as a cookie, might seem just too sweet. Another thing that really helps to balance blood sugar level is good qualities of fats. So having avocado as part of your soup or part of your salad, or even as a snack, you can make eggs with avocado. Those are really, really blood sugar balancing food. And what's going to happen is you're not going to be craving sugary stuff as much. And another thing that I wanted to mention is coconut. So coconut has incredible properties. It's a good source of fat, but it's also antifungal, antibacterial. So it will help to restore the gut flora. It will cut down cravings just because it's such a good source of fat. It also has tons of fiber. So a good way to use coconut is if you buy raw coconut flakes, you can have it as a snack on its own. You can make it even toasted a little bit and have it as a snack. And it's a little bit sweet, but it has no sugar in it, so you can use it when you're craving a dessert, because coconut does taste like an amazing dessert. So those, and coconut has an incredible source of energy. So I'm sure, as a lot of you know, there are different chain fatty acids in different kinds of oils, and coconut has medium chain fatty acids that help your body feel more energy. So having coconut is a good way to provide your body with easy energy. And then we'll cover effective ways to balance hormones. So that's one of the things that I learned from Claudia Welsh, and it's a fascinating way to balance hormones, but it's called alternative nostril breathing, and you can Google it. Just look up on YouTube. You can Claudia Welsh recommends doing 15 minutes per day. It's very, very powerful because it allows to balance out reproductive hormones and stress hormones, and it has a very balancing effect on the brain, on the hormones, and on your emotions. So if one of the issues that you might be having is hormones, really look into alternative nostril breathing, even if you don't join the program, and commit to doing it every single day for at least 15 minutes per day, and you'd be surprised with the effect of it. And let's touch upon 5 foods for a healthy digestion, because I mentioned in the beginning that healthy digestion is really important for weight loss. So there's some foods that will damp digestive fire and some foods that will make it stronger. So some of the foods that will be beneficial for digestion is ginger, because it's a little bit spicy. It fires up your digestive fire, and you can have it as ginger tea. You can have a slice of ginger, like chop it up and put it in the salad. You can have pickled ginger, but basically any sort of ginger, it will create a little bit more heat in the body. And it's similar to basically taking a natural source of enzymes. Another great product that you can take is beets. Beets help to produce bile. Tanya mentions that she's a yoga instructor and she had no clue that alternative nostril breathing helped to balance hormones. Yeah, Tanya, if you go to Claudia Welch's website, she has this book. It's called Balance Your Hormones, Balance Your Life, and she talks a lot about alternative nostril breathing. So she has a huge article there, and I think as a yoga instructor, it would be an amazing resource. So again, beets would be a great food to include if you want to improve digestion. And it's also a slightly sweet taste. So if you have beets in your meals, you're much less likely to start craving sweets afterwards. And another 3 foods that I wanted to recommend for you if you have digestive problems is turmeric. It's anti-inflammatory, so it's essential if you have any sort of inflammatory bowel disease. Lime or lemon, because they provide a sour taste that will, again, help you balance bile production. You can also use lacto-fermented vegetables. So those traditionally will help to digest protein sources. So having 1 or 2 tablespoons of lacto-fermented vegetables is going to be really helpful for digestion. Lime or lemon worked in a somewhat similar way. So sprinkling a little bit in the water, sprinkling in a salad, sprinkling in the soup will be helpful for digestion. And the last one that I wanted to mention is aloe vera. So if you have constipation, if you have bloating, aloe vera is an incredible addition. And you can do like just 2 tablespoons of either juice or gel, and you could buy them for like $10 at most Whole Foods. And have that with your warm water first thing in the morning. It's very soothing for the digestive tract. So now if you guys have any questions, I'm going to reply to your questions, so you can type them up in the chat box on the right side. I see that you guys are asking if lime or lemon is okay if you have high pitta. So I'm going to turn on my camera instead of the screen so I can answer your questions live. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to turn off the screen share. Okay, so it actually is okay to use lime when you have high pitta. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna just try to turn off the screen share so you can actually see me. Yeah, I don't think I can. Okay, never mind. So yes, you can use, shouldn't be using lemon. And then Melinda is asking, is the menu plan for pitta pacifying summertime? So the menu plan that we have in the program, yes, it will be pitta pacifying for the summertime. All the recipes are very seasonal, so they're targeted for this particular time of the year. And then Joe is asking whether I'm talking about beets or the beetroot. I was actually talking about regular beets as like red beets. I would recommend baking them, or roasting them, not having boiled beets, because a lot of the goodies will actually leak out in the water. So baking these is probably the better choice. And then you can chop it up in the salad, or you can just have them on their own. Even if you have beets with a little bit of maybe sheep's cheese, that can be a good snack. So, okay, let me know if you guys have more questions. Whether it's program related or weight related, just type them up on the right side and I'll get to as many as I can. And if any of you are interested in the program, check it out. There's so much more information on the landing page. And again, the early bird discount is going to be valid only through May 27th. Okay, well, it seems that you don't have any more questions. Okay, so Nadya is asking if the program is safe during pregnancy. Yes, the program is safe during pregnancy because there's mostly emotional stuff that we're going through. There's more connection to the body, creating internal dialogue, working with the nervous system. The menu plan is good for either pregnancy or somebody breastfeeding. It's not restrictive. It's more of a nourishing, rejuvenating meal plan. So yes, Nalia, it's safe for pregnancy. Stephanie's asking any direct suggestions for getting rid of polycystic ovaries. So Stephanie, on my website, spinachandyoga.com, if you go in the blog section, there's a blog post on what I did to get rid of my polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I'm sure that's going to be really helpful because it's a long post. There's lots of stuff that I was doing, including herbs and working with the nervous system and visualizations. So check out that post. Susan asking, is it good for Vata Kapha? Yes, Susan. So the program is going to be very adaptable to whatever you are, and I'm going to be providing also guidelines throughout each class. So if you, during the program, we'll be meeting online every week for a theory-based class for an hour, and then also another hour where we'll be taking Q&A. So Q&A is going to be a perfect opportunity to get live coaching. So if you have particular questions about Vata Kapha type, I will be able to help you out individually. Sophie's asking, what do you think of a master cleanse? I think master cleanse is a pretty aggressive way to work with your body. Usually when you think of any particular cleanse, I would say, think of what would my body say to that. And it's usually good to do something that your body would actually be excited about. If you think it's very restrictive, if your body is afraid of that method, that's not a good way. If you're abusing your body is not going to respond in a good way. Weight loss is always something that you do together with the body. So your body and you have to be on the same page. If you do something against it, it's going to bounce back with a very negative response. So I would say that master cleanse, especially with so much cayenne pepper, it can be both aggravating physically and emotionally, create a worse relationship between you and your body. Melinda saying January 1st. The program is actually going to be over by January 1st. So sorry, Melinda. Tanya is asking, consuming butternut squashes and sweet potatoes, are these okay to eat? Yeah, of course. If you can digest butternut squash and sweet potatoes, they're wonderful. I think those are actually better than grains for most people. So again, I think what matters is how do you prepare them and the quantity that your body is comfortable eating. So again, that's something that would be very, very individual. Kristen, also check out for PCOS post. If you go to Spinach and Yoga blog and then just search PCOS, there will be a big article. Christine, recommendation for constant bloating. So Christine, my blog is basically about bloating. So if you go to Spinach and Yoga /blog and search for bloating, there will be so many articles where I list the best teas for bloating, the best snacks for bloating, what to avoid when you bloated. There's so much information. Jude is asking, the program is going to be starting June 2nd. Okay. So Mariana, I'm so happy that you do feel that you're listening to your body. Okay. So Susan, the program will start on June 2nd, and it will last for 6 weeks. The classes will be one class per week that will be recorded, so you can watch it at any time. And then we will have a once per week Q&A that, again, also will be recorded, and you can listen to it anytime, or you can join in live. And then there will be lots of other downloads and MP3 downloads and stuff to work on that will be available to you at any time. So, okay. Jude, it will start on June 2nd, which is a Monday, and the Q&A will be on each Thursday. Okay. So Kristen, the website is, I'm going to write it out here. It's spinachandyoga.com. So you should be able to see it. Okay, Maria is the same thing. Go to my website, and you will find lots of information about relieving bloating and gas. And Jude, no, Q&As will be on Thursday. Okay, so Marcial is asking, what do you think about eliminating gluten? I've been eating gluten-free for 6 months, and my bloating has down significantly. So I think we don't need to eat gluten to be healthy. But a person with a healthy digestive system should be able to eat gluten on an occasional basis without having any adverse symptoms. So oftentimes eliminating gluten is not enough to make our digestive system strong. It's the same thing as a weak person, somebody who has no muscles. You tell them, well, just don't exercise, don't lift anything heavy. It's the same thing, like when your digestive system is weak, and we say, well, okay, so just don't eat gluten, and then don't eat dairy, and then don't eat corn and soy, and don't eat beans, and don't eat grains, because those are all hard to digest. So basically, by the end of the time, the person will have nothing to eat. So the point should be not to use your willpower to eliminate as much food as possible, but instead, how can you strengthen digestion? And that's the main focus. So Jude, yes, you will be able to watch the video of the Monday class and then participate in the Q&A on Thursday. So everything will be recorded, and you will have lifetime access. So even after the program is over, you will still be able to access all the materials. Oh, and guys, I forgot to tell you that one of the bonuses for the program, for the new Vibrant You program, it will be access to my previous 6 weeks course that's Happy Belly. So it's basically 6 hours of video classes that are particularly on digestion. And you will get it for free if you sign up for the new Vibrant You. So that basically covers the whole cost of the program, because that program was over $200 to begin with. So you basically get 2 programs for the price of one. So thank you so much. Thanks for joining me. It was really fun having you. And if you have any questions, I'm going to send you an email tomorrow with a link to watch the recording, please share the recording with any of your friends, if particularly your girlfriends, if they might find it useful. And if you have any questions, just email me back with a question. And Melinda, what time on Monday and Thursday? I'm actually not sure yet. We'll see what group we have. If we have a lot of people from Europe and Australia, we'll probably change the time, but it's probably going to be sometime in the evening. Okay, guys. And Natasha, if we're going to learn how to stick to healthy habits, so what we're going to learn is how to create habits in a smart way. So it's basically not how to rely on willpower, but instead how to use your subconsciousness to change habits. So that will include visualization, some self-hypnosis that I will teach you how to do, and I will also provide you recordings. So basically, you don't have to use it only with your logical mind, but you will be able to get to the subconscious level and use it from there. Okay, guys, we went a little bit over time. Sending you lots of love, and I hope you will be able to join the program. Thank you so much. Bye.